Michael.
Finally. Hey, everybody.
Okay, great. Okay, so hopefully everyone can see my screen sharing a little video about Michael, and hopefully everyone can see Michael and myself. Again, I'm Erica with Quest Travel Adventures, and this is Michael Londra, your host for this presentation, as we will talking about the best of Northern Ireland, one of our first tours in 2026, up to with your guide host rather, Michael Londra. So let's get started. Thank you all for being here today. Thank you for taking the time to chat with us and learn a little bit about Northern Ireland and kind of what we're planning here. Michael, thank you for joining us as well. Thank you for taking time out of your day. Tell us, you were just in Northern Ireland. What were you doing up there?
Well, in the past 3 months, in 3 months, even just saying that, we've made 3 different TV shows, and most of that filming was in Ireland or in the north of Ireland. And I was there about 2 weeks ago. I came back about 2 weeks ago. We were filming a Halloween special that'll air on PBS next year. And I would say 80% of the show was filmed in Northern Ireland or in the northern part of the island in Donegal. And as someone who comes from the southeast corner, when I was growing up, Ireland was a very different place. So I didn't really get to know Northern Ireland really it's only in the past maybe 15 years that I've spent an awful lot of time up there. Now, I should point out that I'm making up for lost time because I love it so much. It's a magnificent part of the world.
Excellent. And this is your 6th season with PBS?
Yeah. So our original kind of anchor series is Ireland with Michael, the travel and music show, and we're in season 6. We had a meeting the other day for season 7, which seems ridiculous, but it sneaks up on you. We just handed over season 6 to PBS, and that starts airing in January. Then the Halloween show obviously won't come until then, and we've just this weekend taped a Christmas concert with loads of Irish music, and it was a lot of fun. And that'll air in the Midwest this year and then nationally next year. So you're going to be sick of me on PBS by the end of 2026.
So this is the 3rd season that you're running the Ireland with Michael vacations.
Yes.
And let's talk a little bit about what to expect with these Ireland with Michael vacations. Obviously, we're going to talk a little bit about Northern Ireland, which is our first trip next year running at the end of May. One of the things that I think we've kind of highlighted with what makes your trips different. So some of the things that I just kind of threw on the slide here, you kind of like to take us to some unique places, some cultural immersion. We meet some of your friends. We go to slightly different places. But before you go into that, let's talk a little bit about what we're looking at here in this picture, because everybody wants to go to a cool place like this, and you can really only do that in Northern Ireland.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, while I want people to experience kind of off the beaten track things and people that are experiences that a lot of tourists don't usually get, we want you to know what the essence of Northern Ireland is, and you can't do that without seeing some of its iconic sites. You're looking at the Giant's Causeway, which is on the Antrim coast, directly north of Belfast, which is our first stop on this tour. And there are 2 stories as to how these very bizarre shaped rocks were carved into the coastline of Antrim. There's in my opinion, very boring scientific story, and then there's the fantastic story of the giant Benandunnan and how those hexagonals were carved into the incredible landscape there on the coast. And that's just the start of it. When you go to the Giant's Causeway, just up from there is Dunluce Castle, which is really something like it's something that you would see in Game of Thrones, which of course is it's no shock that Game of Thrones was filmed in Northern Ireland. Most of the footage of all of the seasons, it was nearly all Northern Ireland or Croatia, I think it was the other place. But we touch on a few stops as part of our tour. So that coastline is, I mean, to say that it's arresting and it leaves you speechless. And, you know, I've seen every corner of Ireland, but this takes the biscuit up there. It's crazy beautiful.
Excellent. Now, everybody asks, and we did put it on here, are you on these tours?
Yeah, you know, there was a time back in the day where I'd be able to go on a tour um, and stay with everybody. Because of the TV show, I can't be there all the time, but because I have curated every single tour to within an inch of its life, I want to make sure you are having a good time. And indeed, next May and in June, we will be filming season 7 of Ireland with Michael when this vacation is happening. So for sure, I am going to show up. I'll be there for a couple of nights. Usually, when I'm there, there's some sort of private music experience that I like to surprise people with. Obviously, from the TV show, I know every single musician in the whole of Ireland, and I usually strong arm them into coming along to our hotel, artisan out of the way pub, and we have a little private concert, which I love because I love seeing people who haven't witnessed Irish music at that kind of very personal level, you know, the way Irish musicians experience it. We call them sessions. And I want you to experience a session and kind of understand that connection that Irish musicians have when they gather together. I think actually probably we will be filming those. So you might actually end up on PBS yourself if you show up on that particular tour.
Excellent. So
Yeah,
I'm showing a map here of the Northern Ireland tour. I
yeah.
know you had mentioned, we actually didn't put your exact town on here, but if you can follow, for those of you who can see, if you can follow the mouse, Michael's from down here. Um, we're going to the north. Do you have a favorite stop on this tour?
Well, I mean, I have a favorite hotel for sure. My favorite hotel in Ireland, without a doubt, and I've stayed there twice this year, is Harvey's Point, um, which is a ridiculously beautiful hotel in the depths of Donegal, right on the shores of Loch Esk. That is, I believe, just the best of what Irish hospitality is. It's a luxury property that is very beautiful in a very serene, quiet place in a part of Donegal, just outside Donegal town. And it is without a doubt the best food I've had on the island of Ireland. There's two helpings actually of favorite spots on this particular vacation because straight after, I mean, I love Donegal town as well. We always do a stop by the town itself because the shopping is it's really good. Like really good Donegal tweed. Wool. Actually, now that I realize, actually, this is from Donegal town. I got this in Donegal town. So knitwear and tweeds are incredible up there. We leave Donegal town. We're there for 2 nights at that gorgeous hotel. Again, I'm going to talk about the food because it's so good there. The best Irish breakfast I've ever had. And there's something very unique about Donegal hospitality that I can't quite put my finger on. It's magical. We then head down to Kilronan. Kilronan is a castle. And, you know, while there are a lot of castles in Ireland, you know, there's very few that you can actually stay in. And Kilronan manages to kind of combine that kind of old fortress with something that is very luxurious and relaxing. I stayed there just about 10 days ago, towards the end of our Halloween shoot. Yeah, try staying in a castle at Halloween.
A little bit of
Uh,
a haunted feeling?
it wasn't. No, I actually thought it would, because I'm a bit of a scaredy cat. But I will say it was so luxurious, and um, this where it's situated is so stunningly beautiful, that you don't think about ghosts. You think about how comfortable your bed is, and they have a gorgeous kind of old school dining room for breakfast that I really loved. It's full of kind of red velvet and everything you imagine about a castle dining room. It's
Wonderful.
beautiful.
Well,
Again, very out of the way. So it's while the start of this vacation, you're in Belfast and you're in Derry, which is full of exciting things to see and full of life, full of nightlife, particularly the pubs. Um, later, for there's a contrasting few days then, because you've got in Donegal and in Kilronan, you've got a very, very relaxing kind of luxurious stay that's a little quieter. Now, you should know that the day is full of activities. I think that we're heading out to the Slieve League, which are the highest cliffs in Europe. There's lots to see, but when you come back to the peace of a castle or of Harvey's Point, it's time to relax.
so let's take them through just a little bit of the highlights of some of the days, because as you mentioned just now, the days are very full. So they arrive in Dublin, which is
Yeah.
Southern Ireland. Now we get asked a lot of time, as they head to Northern Ireland, is there a border crossing?
No. You know, that is 25, 30 years ago. The peace accord that happened at the end of the 90s transformed the island. So there is no border. The only thing that you might even notice is the road signs change color, because, in the Republic, they're all green. And then you head up to the north, and you won't know you've crossed the border until you see the change of color in the signs to blue. And the only thing that you'll kind of have to make an adjustment is having some pounds, some British pounds in the north, for a couple of our days. And even then, most people don't take any cash out, and they'll just use their debit cards to pay for everything. So honestly, you really won't notice any difference at all.
They hit the ground running, and one of the first things that you take them to see is the Game of Thrones studio.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about why we chose that and what's exciting about that.
I was kind of when I went to see it first, I was nervous, really, and I wondered whether I'd want to take fans to see it. But then it's been done so well. Essentially, you're going to where a lot of the scenes are filmed, all of the in studio scenes. And it is so fascinating, whether you're a Game of Thrones fans or not. You go to the costuming department, you go to the storyline department, you see how the set is built. You can sit in the Iron Throne, which was the biggest thrill of my life. There's lots of kind of interactive, fun games to do. It's one of the funnest visitor attractions, I think, on the whole island, and it's only a couple of years old. Um, I loved it, so I think you'll have a great time.
Excellent. They get to spend some time in Belfast, and like you said, the pubs, the cultural life of the city. And then we throw in a little history the next day, visiting the St. Patrick's Center and Hillsborough Castle. Any highlights from that day that you'd want to share, that you'd want them to know, to look forward to?
It's very strange for somebody from where I'm from and from the Republic to be able to not only celebrate St. Patrick, but on the same day celebrate the monarchy, because Hillsborough is the residence of Prince Charles, of King Charles. What am I saying? Of King Charles, when he is in Northern Ireland. And we filmed there about 2 years ago. It is so fascinating. They allow you into King Charles's drawing room, and you'll see all of the like the family photographs are on the dresser. And the one thing, surprising thing, was that I did not know that King Charles is a massive collector of Irish art. So it's one of the most fascinating places that I have been to in Ireland. And being from the Republic, it feels very strange, but fantastic.
Then we continue up, and you head to Giant's Causeway that we already talked about, Dunluce Castle that we already talked about, and then one of the most traditional things to do when you're in Ireland is visit a distillery. So let's talk just a little bit about Bushmills.
Not really familiar with distilleries. I would say.
Yes, yes, you don't drink whiskey at all. I've seen that on some of your videos.
In truth, I never drank a drop of whiskey until I started filming this show. We were very lucky to go to Bushmills and to meet the master distiller, who I was terrified of meeting beforehand, Alex, because I expected this craggy old geezer who would give me a hard time because I knew nothing about whiskey. When in walked this very beautiful woman in her, like, I guess, early 40s, who is the master distiller of
Wow.
Bushmills. And I learned all about distilling there. And I learned how to drink whiskey. And it's a fascinating story. The way they've taken what was a primitive art and turned it into this kind of global machine, and how that happens. But the best part is you get to taste the whiskey. I mean, who
What
doesn't
we're
love
all
that?
looking forward to. Um, you get to do a little walking tour around Derry. Derry is often called Londonderry. Little bit of why that history is so important.
You know, I would have never used the word Londonderry. For me, it was Derry. Um, but one thing I've noticed, again, since the North has been transformed, most people say, well, it's neither Derry nor Londonderry. Now they call it legendary, which I think is pretty fantastic. And it's the one thing about Derry is that it's so brimming with life, and it's incredible that this modern city has built around the walls that are just so ancient, and it's still also intact. That is one thing that is is surprising, is that the history has, despite the troubles over the years, that the beautiful ancient buildings are all remarkably in perfect condition. And it's a great town. Also, fantastic pubs. The best pubs ever.
For someone who claims they didn't drink whiskey until they started filming, you often are very excited about the pubs in some of these towns.
Now, I would never touch whiskey in a pub, mainly because when I'm in Ireland, it would be sacrilegious for me not to drink Guinness.
Perfect. So you talked a little bit about this Slieve League cliffs. Now you got to answer the burning question. Better than the Cliffs of Moher?
I would say, now this is bold. I would say it's 10 times better.
Oh, 10 times better.
I think it's in a different league, Slieve League, but it is a different league. I mean, they are 3 times higher. They're the highest cliffs in Europe, but there's something mystic about up there. And also less tourists go to Slieve League, so you've got the cliffs mostly to yourself, which is astonishing. But Donegal was always kind of that county that's a little out of the way, and that's why I want to focus on it. There are less tourists up there. It's about as scenic as anywhere in the island, if not more. But the cliffs, just crazy beautiful.
You talked a little bit about the shopping in Donegal and your
Oh, yeah.
sweater. Let's
Yeah.
talk a little bit about our visit to Hannah's Hats, which are on here.
Oh yeah. So Hannah Hats has, been in business for over 100 years, all a family business. And the reason that I love Hannah Hats is that I have worn Hannah Hats my whole life. Anytime you see a cap mostly people call them Peaky Blinder caps over here, but that would be another country. And I have worn those caps my whole life. And so it's like going to the mothership when you go to Hannah Hats. And Eleanor is so welcoming, and you see how they make them. But the one thing that's great up there, they're all made with Donegal tweed, which is so unique. And I always spend way too much money up there.
As we continue to talk about some of the local products that are up there, you also take them to visit the Belique Pottery Factory. Tell me a little bit about Belique versus any other pottery.
Yeah, so Belique, Belique is a bone china. Now, not an awful lot of people who come on our tour are very familiar with it because it's so unique and it was never kind of mass produced. But it is the most delicate porcelain that you'll ever see. And they managed to be able to create these intricate knots and baskets. It's just remarkable. And then they lay all of this on top, the finest of bone china that almost looks like paper. And I'm always intrigued. And a lot of their work is very traditional. And I think that, American tourists lean into traditional arts. Irish people actually love their more modern work, but the modern work is just as delicate. It's just, I guess it's a style thing. But yeah, Belique is a world-renowned product. Yeah.
Excellent. And then after we see Belique, as you had mentioned, we get to go to amazing Kilronan Castle. So that's a really fancy night for us. We get to eat at the hotel, which is a really neat experience because it's not your traditional pub dining as we've been talking about.
Yeah, it's, I ate there. I had, I know what I had. I had a leg of lamb. It was absolutely delicious. With mint sauce. Oh, gorgeous. Yeah.
Now we're all hungry.
Yeah.
So our last stop on this trip is going to be back to Dublin because it seems like no tour of Ireland is complete without at least one night in Dublin. Any favorite pubs to talk about in Dublin or anything else that is recommended? People will get the option to have a hop on, hop off pass and explore a bit of the city on their own. Your favorite places to hang out?
First of all, I think we're staying in the Davenport, are we?
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are. I mean, the reason that we're staying in the Davenport is because I absolutely love it. It's one of those hotels that is understated, really, really modern, but has this classic Georgian feel that is so, built into what Dublin is. There's so many Georgian squares. You'll probably remember when you think of Dublin, all of the Georgian doors. And I stayed there just about 10 days ago. And it is so convenient. It's right behind Trinity College. So you can stroll over to the Book of Kells there in Trinity College. You can stroll to Merrion Square or the Houses of Parliament or St. Stephen's Green, which is, probably the center of Irish cultural life, around which many art galleries, museums, and hotels, and probably most importantly, Grafton Street, the posh shopping experience in Dublin. As regards pubs, there's one place that I won't recommend pubs because there are so many to pick from. I do love, my favorite is a place called Neary's, and it's a place for a quiet pint just off Grafton Street. Incidentally, the back door of Neary's, there is a little laneway from the back door of Neary's pub into the Gaiety Theatre. So often I've performed there and then sneaked from backstage over for a quick pint of Guinness in Neary's. So that's the reason I love it there.
Very nice. So the Ireland with Michael program, Ireland with Michael Vacations, this is our third season, and you have 4 exciting tours this year. this webinar has been about the first one, which is going to be May 25th to June 2nd, but just highlight some of the other areas that we're going to in case they can't join us at the end of May. Where else could they maybe join us on tour?
Yeah, I mean, what I try to do is hit as many places as possible. You know, I am from, obviously, I'm a little biased. I'm from a county that is a little out of the way for people from North America. A lot of Irish people come to where I am from, County Wexford, on their vacations. And the reason is, A, we've better weather. It's sunnier and warmer in the southeast of Ireland. We're on the southeast coast. And I'm from Wexford town, which is the kind of capital of County Wexford. And so I think 2 of our tours have stops in Wexford later in the year. And we also have a coastal southern experience. You know, the whole island of Ireland is the size of Indiana. People don't realize just how small it is. But the great thing about it is you can pack in so much. And so on any of our tours, any of the 4 next year, you're going to see very, very different kind of, one minute you'll be on a very barren looking cliff with a castle that's about to tumble into the Atlantic Ocean. And 2 days later, you'll be in the middle of the lushest, most gorgeous dairy landscape that you could imagine. Or you'll be strolling through the Georgian streets or the medieval streets of County Kilkenny, or the maritime streets, the Viking streets of Wexford. So in every single tour, there's something that is very, very different. And you just have to decide which one of those that you wanted to lean into. Although some people have done 2 in 1 year, as I recall.
Well, it's interesting. We did set up these programs, so if you wanted to do 2, it's possible. They are a little bit back to back, but we do have options for people. Now, Michael, there's a little bit of an announcement that we wanted to make about an upcoming promotion that we're running.
Oh, yes.
And that is Black Friday, Cyber Monday. We're doing it $250 off per person. So you can go to the website and get your opportunity to join Michael during our best sale of the year. We're going to take some questions that have come in. If you have questions, just throw them in the chat. But first is, what is it about your County Wexford that makes it the best place to visit, besides Northern Ireland, which we were just talking about?
The reason that you know, obviously I have a very unique perspective of my county. Wexford is a very musical place. There's a big tradition of singing. So without a doubt, in the Wexford stops, there will be a private concert. Usually I strong arm all of my friends to become involved in it. And we get together, we stay in a hotel that I grew up in as a kid. It's just about a mile from my house, my family home, and it's called Ferry Carrig. The seafood in that part of the world is crazy beautiful. I will say that the seafood everywhere is fantastic in Ireland. I think you'll in general be surprised by the quality of the food everywhere. You'll finally taste meat. You'll finally taste vegetables that taste like actual vegetables. No slight on anybody here in North America, but you are brutal at growing tasty vegetables.
Well, again, another question, which I'll take, which is to a little bit about the group dynamics and how many people per group. We're usually in the teens, 16 to 18 people a group. Keep it intimate. There is a driver guide that is with you for the entire time. You have a coach transportation the entire time. Breakfast is included every day at these hand-picked hotels by Michael. So you're very well taken care of.
And I've used the same driver guide for 15 years. I love Austin. He's part of our family, and He's super smart. He has insight into every kind of historical or current fact about Ireland that you will need to know. And whatever questions you have for him, he'll have an answer for you. He's also so funny. So there's a lot of banter. By the end of the week, you're going to be talking back at him as much as he's talking to you.
Well, we just had someone come back who said he's the crankiest, most lovable Irishman I've ever met.
That's exactly who he is.
So we'll definitely, I mean, I haven't had the privilege of meeting Austin yet, but I really look forward to meeting him when we can.
I tell him he's a legend in his own mind.
Yeah, there you go. And he certainly feels the same way. So contact information is up on the screen, Ireland@questtraveladventures.com. If you have questions, if you want to sign up, you can go to questtraveladventures.com/Ireland or IrelandWithMichael.com. And it would be great to see you all there. Michael's really looking forward to this next season. He's very excited about these itineraries. So thank you all so much for joining us. And again, thank you, Michael, for taking time out of your filming schedule to join us here. Any final words for your fans?
No, just it's the start of the holidays, and I'm going to enjoy some time off. But I wish you all a great holiday season, and take advantage of that special Black Friday deal. I didn't know about that, so $250 off a person. That's fantastic, right?
Hey, we want to get people in there. It will be live as of just shortly after this webinar, and it will run through just after the end of the week of Cyber Monday. So pricing is live on the website. You can book right through the website. You can also send us an email. Someone will reach out to you and ask any specific questions. So again, thank you all so much. Thank you, Michael. And I hope everyone has a wonderful afternoon.
Thanks, everyone. Slán. Bye.